Well, the virus has now killed more than 100 people in China, and new cases have been confirmed around the world.
So you don't want to frighten the American public.
France and South Korea have also got evacuation plans.
But you need to prepare for and assume
strongly warning Americans to avoid all non-essential travel to China.
That this is going to be a real serious problem.
France, Australia, Canada, the US, Singapore, Cambodia, Vietnam, the list goes on.
Health officials are investigating more than 100 possible cases in the US.
Germany, a man has contracted the virus.
The epidemic is a demon, and we cannot let this demon hide.
Japan, where a bus driver contracted the virus.
Coronavirus has killed more than 100 people there and infected more than 4,500.
We have to prepare for the worst, always, because if you don't and the worst happens.
War Room Pandemic. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
Live from Nation's Capital, you're in the War Rooms, Tuesday, the 1st of September, year of our Lord 2020. This is episode 364, and we're now almost at 13.5 million downloads on the podcast. Of course, you can get us on the John Fredericks Radio Network, americasvoice.news, the streaming platform of the Trump Revolution. That's Dish Channel 219 now. Also, you can get us Newsmax TV and 70 or 80 million homes under the leadership of Chris Ruddy. You see us on the rebroadcast late at night, along with other known personages that watch it at that time. Also, GTV and G News, subtitled in Mandarin and blown throughout the world. This is the show that unites working class and middle class people throughout the world. Lao Beijing with the deplorables, all of it. Okay, we're going to get. We got a lot to go through. Next segment, we're going to actually talk about this Nikki Lum Davis. I want to get her picture up in the next one, and also the this huge article coming at DOJ that they published to get up on the screen. But not. I want to go back, Raheem. We're hurtling towards a problem, right? We're hurtling towards a very big problem. We have talked about this now for over a month, maybe a month and a half, 2 months, when we first had Bill McGinley on here to talk about Own Your Vote. That's why I wanted Ralph Reed on here today. Ralph's a fabulous political strategist, but he is an expert, and I think the top expert in actually getting out the vote. And you know, having done the campaigns for Brexit and all these campaigns, how important it is actually to deliver it. With 60 days to go, or 62 days to go, how serious is the situation about, what is this? Is this election just going to be a process, and November 3rd just going to be one marker along the road?
Well, you're right when you say that there's nothing more important than get out the vote. And one of the things that the Democrats have tried to do in this scenario, as soon as the pandemic hit, was say, okay, we're definitely going to be getting out our votes, but we're going to get them out a different way. We're going to put a lot of pressure on the mail-in voting, a lot of pressure on the mail-in ballot system here in the United States, which has obviously led to a lot of consternation surrounding the post office and fraud and all of that. But they're leaning in to their solution to this problem, and our side sort of seems all over the place. At the beginning of this, there wasn't a big push from our side to do mail-in ballots in response, even if there weren't going to be polling stations that were totally open and easily available on polling day. A lot of them now seem like they are going to be open, and people are very angry, and rightfully so, about the fact that they can see these thousands, tens of thousands of people protesting every day, and people almost acting totally normally now when they're going to Walmart and other such places, because they're wearing the masks, and the mask was supposed to be so that we had to socially distance less. But now we're being told it's not enough, and you can't vote in person anyway, and you're going to have these mail-in ballots. Well, at the same time, the narrative that the Democrat Party have been trying to push is that the president of the United States is going to be an illegitimate president after November the 3rd.
This is going to be the real nullification project.
Yeah.
Right? You're going to say that, hey, the nullification project is after we won, after they conceded. You're saying they've already said they're not going to concede. They don't care what happens on Election Day. They don't care how far he's ahead. That's when they kick into the Podesta. And this is not conspiracy. We're not having a tinfoil hat here. This is what's been already. What did they call that process that you pulled out of the New York Times?
The Transition Integrity Project. So this came about very, very soon after the pandemic hit. The Transition Integrity Project as a coalition of the Open Society Institute and the Berggruen Institute. Now, this is one globalist organization partnered with an organization that is in turn partnered with the Chinese Communist Party, the Berggruen Institute. And you look at who the people are who are associated with this. You've got CNN anchors like Fareed Zakaria, who are associated with the Berggruen Institute. And on the other side, you have all of the same people who were testifying in the impeachment proceedings dealing on the open society side of things. So what you're seeing now is Hillary Clinton goes out and she says Joe Biden shouldn't, under any circumstances, concede the election. You have Nancy Pelosi going out there and saying Joe Biden shouldn't, under any circumstances, debate the President of the United States. And you have Joe Biden himself going out there, not even speaking to the public yesterday, but speaking to a room of six reporters, and taking no questions.
Do we have the visual of that? Or
yeah, we do actually.
And put that up. I mean, this is a big day for him, and no questions, right? Six reporters, no questions.
I mean, he literally walked off the stage, didn't even turn his head towards them. It was almost like he was laser focused on getting out the door.
Can I just say that there is something deeply creepy about what's going on here? Because it's being done in such a way that every time you turn on your television, every time you have to listen to Brian Stelter or any of these people, they make no acknowledgement of the fact that this is happening. They make no acknowledgement of the fact that they've got a paper candidate up there who they're saying shouldn't even have a debate, who they're then saying won't accept the election result. If that was Trump, if it was reversed, and that was the Trump campaign and Trump speaking to six reporters, not taking questions, saying I'm not going to debate and I'm not going to accept the election result, they'd try and have his name removed off the ballot papers. They say you're not a candidate.
What if Ralph Reed's data operation had come out and given a interview to Axios and saying, hey, we expect Biden will be way ahead, maybe electoral college landslide on the evening of the election, but we've got it that we think with mail-in votes, etc., we'll win this handily in the weeks following. The media would be in a complete meltdown. I mean, the Democratic Party would be in a meltdown.
And if the Democrats were in power while something like that was happening, the Attorney General would be all over it. Every single investigation would be taking place. There'd be congressional hearings right now about this stuff. Where are the Republicans in Congress, and where is Attorney General Barr on this stuff? Because this is clear as day now. They're not hiding.
Do you see a fire back? People firing back even from the conservative media or the grassroots? Because it's been stunningly crickets on what is, to me, you're going to have to win the election on election day, and then you're going to have to win the count itself. This is going to be, and they've got 600. I was just going through the notes again this morning for the show. Democratic National Committee, I think, has 600 lawyers already signed up around the country. And this is what Bill McGinley and Jim Schultz have been warning about. Where are we right now in that process? So we're going to try to get McGinley and Schultz on because, okay, now's the time. We understand what the stakes are. You don't need to be convinced of the stakes. It's all or nothing. And this is all about putting your shoulder to the wheel and getting out there and getting out the vote, right? You got to own your vote, but you also got to work like crazy. You got 62 days left. You got put the golf clubs away, the tennis rackets away. Summer's over. Close the pool up. It's now time to go to work, and we got 62 days or 61 in a wake-up. I guess it's not 61 in a wake-up anymore because this thing's going to go for weeks afterwards, but you're going to have to grind. You've got to connect with either Ralph Reed or one of these other get-out-the-vote groups. You got to work phone banks. You're going to have to knock on doors. The number one thing you do right now with still 62 days to go is get everybody you know that's not registered to vote, get them to register to vote, right? There's a program going around. We are checking that 10 for 20, I think. Every person out there gets 10 people signed up that are not registered to vote, and then you've got to become not a poll watcher. That's fine. Go to the RNC and become a poll watcher, but you also go sign up to be an electoral official. And it's surprising. I've had so many people come back to me who have never thought about it before until McGinley talked about it. Said, "Hey, I just signed up, and I'm going to go see what I got to do." This is all about activization, right? You got to be active in this. It's mobilization. They're going to mobilize. Right, you see how they mobilize thing? Yeah, Vish.
Yeah, if there were any folks watching MSNBC or CNN yesterday after Biden gave his speech, I would say it's not that this activization narrative is not just for the boots on the ground. After the speech yesterday, Nicole Wallace and a lot of these folks went on TV and said, not only was Biden's speech scathing as they described it, but he needs to be out there on the campaign trail every day. The media now wants to see Biden on the campaign trail active every day.
Well, I don't think they can hide it anymore, right? They're being outed every day about how they've protected this guy, right? Yeah. He said the other day, in 10 days I'm going to go out. It's not going to work. I think the American people can see through I mean, when he gives these speeches, it's like he's Not just reading off a teleprompter, he's getting confused.
And
on
he's
the
fumbling
teleprompter.
around. I don't think he's got the stamina.
And, the sad thing is, I don't think stamina is the point. Look, we're watching this guy mentally decay. We see this with elder people. It's not something that doesn't happen to you or me or anyone else, but it is obvious to the American people. And I contend it is more obvious to people who are elderly themselves because they've witnessed it in their spouses. They've witnessed it in their friends. I've been in a prior life involved in 2 law cases where they tried to prove undue influence with somebody who was elderly. And I can tell you, in both cases, the person who they claimed this was not in any way as bad as Joe Biden is today. And these court cases.
What do you mean
went to
by
court.
what do you mean by that?
I'm talking about a guy who doesn't seem like he's all there, a guy who doesn't seem like he's making decisions. I mean, for a situation like this, if he didn't have his wife, the court would probably put a guardianship there to make sure that somebody is taking care of it.
You think it's that serious?
I have a very dear friend whose father, very similar to Joe Biden, very friendly guy, nice guy, and they get to sort of hide their dementia to a certain extent by being happy and smiley and saying, "Hey, come on, brother, come on, man," and all this stuff. And over a period of several years, he literally gave away all of his money to some people he met at the coffee shop.
So how is Biden going to stand up to the heat of Trump? Because Trump's going to Kenosha Day. Trump's bringing it, right? He's you saw the Laura Ingraham interview. I mean, he's now, this is what he does best, close, right?
Well, I'm sorry, it doesn't matter. Joe Biden is irrelevant. We can talk about Joe Biden till we're blue in the face. We're not running against Joe Biden. We're running against a pandemic. You're running against, a foreign adversary that is increasingly petulant about what's happening to it and the Chinese Communist Party. You're running against a DNC that is very clearly the puppet master behind this candidate who is irrelevant in and of himself, and they are telling us that they are planning to reject, even if President Trump wins every single electoral vote out there, they're going to reject the election result. Full stop. And here's something else that I just found out while looking at this thing right now about the Transition Integrity Project. So a lot of these articles came out in the early part of this year, and they were drip feeding them. New York Times, BuzzFeed, all of this. Well, on August the 9th, we exposed who they are. Sorry, August the 3rd, we exposed who they are, both on this show and on the National Pulse website. We walked people through exactly what was going on here. 6 days later, they have a full Wikipedia article up about them, glowing references about who the Transition Integrity Project are. 17 references, the New York Times, the New Yorker, Vox, again, the New York Times, the Atlantic, the Boston Globe, the Atlantic. So they've put together this 3-paragraph Wikipedia entry. Makes no mention of any of the things that we said about them. None of their ties to any of these other organizations, none of their ties to the Chinese Communist Party. And they call themselves, it says the Transition Integrity Project is a bipartisan group of political consultants, campaign veterans, academics, journalists, polling experts, former federal and state officials. And then you go in and look at who these people are. Rosa Brooks is actually the former chief counsel for George Soros himself, and they name her as Rosa Brooks, a law professor at Georgetown. Then they talk about who the bipartisan elements are: Bill Kristol, Ed Luce, Max Boot, David Frum. All never Trumpers. So this is so I call it creepy. This is all laid out. It's all very well thought out. And Joe Biden doesn't even matter at this point.
I mean, how can he matter? I don't know if anybody actually caught his speech yesterday. I was thinking we're going to look ahead at debate season, but if this is what we're going to have to deal with debate.
Do we have that
AVN,
clip?
let's roll clip 2.
COVID has taken this year, just since the outbreak, has taken more than 100 years. Look, here's the lives. When you think about it, more lives this year than any other year for the past 100 years.
If that's what we have to look forward to, like Raheem said, Biden is irrelevant.
It's nice to dunk on Joe Biden. It's funny to dunk on Joe Biden, but in the grand scheme of this whole thing, it doesn't matter.
Well, you know what? It's actually sad to make fun of Joe Biden at this point, but what is horrifying is that the Democratic Party can still put him up as a straw man and pretend that if he wins the election, that he will actually be president of the United States. The irony for me is we've heard 4 years of them talking about the 25th Amendment and how they're going to remove Trump because he's crazy. He's clearly lost it. Haven't heard a word about that with Joe Biden.
Here's the thing. It could only ever have been Joe Biden, because every single other candidate is lucid enough to maybe cotton on to what was happening, and morality may have kicked in.
We're going to take a short commercial break. Why don't the Republicans and the conservatives in the Trump movement have a transition integrity project? Maybe it's time to get on top of that. Okay, we'll come back in just a second.
Brett Favre, legendary quarterback. Jerry Rice, legendary wide receiver.
You ready for your weekly meeting?
Yeah, we're ready.
Let's do this. Let's stack the deck.
When legends play, they wear Copperfit Advanced Back Pro. Copperfit's best-selling compression back support just got better with new double-band adjustable supports for customizable compression when you need it most.
Since I put this on, I feel so much better. The core is the most important thing. To know that I'm stabilized here. Whatever I'm doing, I can give it 100%.
4 built-in stabilizing supports designed to improve posture and help reduce lower back stress and strain.
You have back pain and it's affecting your everyday life. You do something.
If you can find something to help you get back out and be active like Copperfit, go for it.
Absolutely.
Do not give up. A high-performance compression fabric infused with the powerful properties of copper, 360-degree flexible mobility, and lightweight, durable construction.
Nothing more painful than having back pains. If you're aching, if you feel like you can't work out anymore, you can. And that's with Copperfit.
Yeah. It's for all of us who still want to be active, still want to compete.
Way to go. That's what I'm talking about. Man, this really does feel good. It feels to me like the fountain of youth.
Copperfit's best-selling back support just got bigger, badder, and better. Or call 1-800-944-5851. Or on the web at advancedbackpro.com. Get yours now for only $19.99.
This does feel good.
That's what I've been saying.
You think it was fair?
It was fun.
Play for the love of the game.
Copperfit, live limitless.
Hi, Hunter Ellis here for Night Hero Binoculars by Atomic Beam. These binoculars let you see anything, even in pitch black darkness. Gotcha. The secrets are powerful wide-angle atomic beam laser that reveals objects up to 150 yards away, hidden by darkness. During the day, Night Hero gives you 10 times magnification, and when the sun goes down, press the Night Bright button to see clearly in the dark. Light up garbage-eating critters, or spot thieves before they even get close. Call or click now and get Night Hero binoculars with laser illumination technology for just $39.99. You'll also get a protective carrying case, yours free. Order right now and you can double it. Plus, get our best-selling Atomic Beam flashlight, just pay separate fee. We'll even ship them to you free. You can get it all, but you have to order now.
Call 1-800-788-1008. That's 1-800-788-1008. Or visit bynighthero.com. That's bynighthero.com. Order now.
War Room Pandemic with Stephen K. Bannon.
The epidemic is a demon, and we cannot let this demon hide.
War Room Pandemic. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
Okay, you're back in the war room. We got breaking news out of the State Department, Mr. Raheem Gassam.
Yeah, that's right. This is up on justthenews.com, John Solomon's outfit, which is, I believe, and I see is doing amazing traffic at the moment. So credit to John Solomon. The breaking news, State Department to release memos detailing illegal social media monitoring of Americans. That's as of 4 minutes ago, this story went up. Talks about the State Department agreeing to release memos showing officials in its Kiev embassy illegally monitored 13 American social media accounts during last year's Ukraine scandal, including President Trump's eldest son, Don Jr., Fox News personalities Sean Hannity, Laura Ingraham, and Lou Dobbs. Others mentioned in this are, I believe, Rudy Giuliani, Tom Fitton, Seb Gorka, Jack Posobiec, Sarah Carter, and Dan Bongino. So the documents are due to be released. We're not sure just as when they're going to be released, but this shows that there is the U.S. State Department's own arms specifically in their Kiev embassy has been monitoring American social media accounts directly in relation to political activities.
And so, what does that tell us? Why are they doing that? Why would they be going after some of President Trump, monitoring President Trump's? That right there is 10 of his biggest defenders.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at that list of people, I mean, these are the people who were either the furthest ahead on what was going on in Ukraine, or the people with the largest audiences who were reporting on the people who were ahead on Ukraine. So, for instance, Jack Posobiec, one of the people who was heavily, and obviously a great friend of the show, but who was heavily involved in exposing a lot of things that happened there. And then Sean Hannity, who was obviously responsible for projecting that news and that reporting outward to that massive Fox News audience. So it's very clear. I mean, just like you've seen, and we had Darren Beattie on a couple of weeks ago talking about these color revolutions and George Kent and everything that was taking place in Ukraine. I've warned for years, since I was in that Maidan Square years and years ago, that Ukraine was effectively being used by both the European Union and the United States of America by whatever you want to call them, the deep state, the apparatus, the administrative state,
the in-your-face state.
Yeah, the administrative state, really, right? The permanent political class. Ukraine was being used as a means by which to launder foreign policy, to launder bad foreign policy that wanted more U.S. intervention and wanted more EU expansion to Russia's borders and wanted to cause more conflict around the world. Well, they have effectively for now lost that battle, and now what you're going to see is a lot of these releases coming out as a result of losing that battle. But I predict the same thing will be happening in Belarus in just a few months' time. Once they get rid of this guy, they will use Belarus as the same kind of jumping-off point to target Russia and Putin and to try and draw America back into these global conflicts.
What is I want to go back to the previous segment on this Transition Integrity Project. The Never Trumpers, the Lincoln Project guys, what do they hope when they see the dichotomy here between what Trump is standing for and what the platform stands for versus the Democrats? And it's incumbent that I think we pull every Republican in here to vote. Why are they part of this Transition Integrity Project? Why do you have guys like Bill Kristol? And you obviously got Nicole Wallace on MSNBC. But why do you see these establishment Republicans? What is it about Trump? Forget his personality, forget how he triggers people. What is it about the policy package that they're so opposed to?
Yeah, and I don't think really he even does trigger them like they say he does in terms of his demeanor. We all know people like Donald Trump. We all know people who have, maybe not achieved as much, but certainly speak in the same ways and have the same sort of, the locker room banter and so forth. What it is about him is the very same thing that creates this rationale of spying on American social media accounts. It's the major difference in how they view the world. Donald Trump, whatever you say about any mistakes that he's made in his past or his personal life or whatever, he clearly does put family first. And that's not how these people think. For these people, it's foreign policy first. And it's foreign policy that enriches them that comes first. Whether it's David Cameron, the former British Prime Minister in China, or whether it's Bill Kristol and the Middle East wars, the never-ending wars there, whether it's John Bolton and he was determined to start that war with Iran. And when he got in there, he really did think that he was going to get his way on that. Whether it's L.A. Abrams and it's Venezuela, whatever it is, those are the sort of policy disputes that you're looking at. But there's two classes of Never Trumper as well. There's the Never Trumper that, like the Max Boots, who are fully subscribed now to the Democratic Party platform on the Democrat side, and there are the Never Trumpers who still want to remain in control of the Republican Party and take back control of the Republican Party. And those are the David Frenches of the world. And it was extraordinary to read one of David French's emails just last week, where he said, I'm pro-life, but it doesn't matter that President Trump is the most pro-life president we've seen in our lifetimes because he's still Donald Trump, and therefore we should let go of that cause. That's 500,000 abortions over the course of 4 years.
Genocide.
That you're looking at as a result of the 12.5% that would be saved, let's say, if Roe gets repealed or reformed in some way. That's what David French is giving up to get rid of this president. In fact, we don't run many op-eds at the National Pulse, but we have Frank Cannon, who did an op-ed about this on this Sunday for us, talking specifically about David French and how he's willing to give up the moral principles and the right thing to do, especially when it comes to life. Unborn children, just because he can't stand President Trump and his foreign policy prescriptions.
What do the Republicans, what does the Trump movement, what does the Trump apparatus need to do immediately to get its own Transition Integrity Project, right? We know we don't have the lawyers out there. We're going to try to get some people on the show in the next couple of days to talk about that. But What do you need to do to get your own transition integrity project?
Well, that's the funny thing. You don't really even need lawyers. I mean, you look at who the Transition Integrity Project for the left is. You're talking about Rosa Brooks. Okay, she's a law professor. You've got a former chancellor at the University of California, Berkeley. You've got John Podesta. You've got William Crystal, Bill Crystal, Ed Luce, Max Boot, David Frum. Effectively, all you need to do is put together a group of respected political analysts, commentators, bring on some data analytics, pollster type people.
But you have to have a connection to the lawfare part of it, right? You got to have the ability to go in and challenge these ballots, to challenge all this. This is going to be a massive. This is going to be 2,000 in 10 states.
Yeah, but I don't think they're even going to go to this group itself. What this group is there for is so that when on November the 4th they come out and say, actually, we don't accept the results.
You have surrogates on every TV network.
It's surrogates on every TV channel, every TV network, every newspaper column, etc. But it's also people who will appear immediately before House committees that will be called immediately to have hearings. And that's what this Transition Integrity Project is for. This is a PR thing. Yes, there are lawyers that they've got positioned all over the country. That's a totally different thing and a much heavier lift. To put a Transition Integrity Project today, 12 Republicans, respectable Republicans who are on television all the time, who run polling companies, who do all this sort of stuff, need to come together, put together a firm, because when they go up to Capitol Hill to testify before the House, before Nancy Pelosi's committees, we're going to need our own people to put up there. And we don't have that right now.
Jack.
Well, I think that there are a lot of things that we can do on a local level. For example, I lived in Philadelphia for many years, and there was huge corruption there. I mean, you get 100% vote turnout in some of these West Philadelphia districts, just totally outrageous, busing people over to New Jersey. I remember particularly in the Corzine election, they bussed over 20 or 30,000 people from Philadelphia to vote across the river. I think there's some simple ways. We've got a lot of people out there who are kind of creative. I think setting up a camera across from some of these polling places and just being able to verify the number of people who actually walked in and out of there would be an invaluable service to finding out the ultimate counts here. Because if they've got 100,000 votes and only 10,000 people walked in and out of that building, that's impossible. Just one of my ideas I was talking about with some people over the weekend.
How is do you believe that people are now waking up to the fact that this is going to be the most contested election in American history, right? You already seen that, right? We're not going to concede. There's going to be lawfare afterwards. Do you think the Trump base is starting to, I mean, I hope hashtag war and pandemic and the live stream, people are getting focused on this and fired up on it?
Well, and I think a lot of people are already starting to see the fraud. I have a great family friend. She's a UK citizen. She's lived in the United States for 60 years, but she's never given up her citizenship. She got 3 ballots at her house, 2 from people she had no idea who they were. She's lived in this house for decades. And she also got a ballot for herself in her name, ready to be filled out to vote for president. She has never registered to vote in her entire life, and she was outraged.
What state is this?
Pennsylvania.
Wow.
I'm really tempted myself. You know, I'm a visa holder. I'm not a U.S. citizen. I have no right to vote. I'm tempted myself to go on election day and try and cast a vote somewhere.
Well,
just see what it's like.
For you, that would be a felony. For the other millions, no one's going to chase it down.
Because if you announce it now, I'm talking about it as a journalistic endeavor. This is an informational thing.
You're like Project Veritas.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? If they want to deport me for showing up their fraudulent election process, go ahead.
No, you don't want that, because then you can never come
Look,
back.
you talk about the deep state. You talk about this. The breaking news on the Milesguo situation is Nikki Lum Davis. Cop to the FAR violation, and it shows you that this thing is, I think, going to explode. You're going to see a lot more of the names in that criminal complaint exposed. And I think this is only the top of the first inning, but it shows you, for as much as they say, Miles is this crazy guy Steve Bannon has on the show every now and again that talks about HNA, talks about Hong Kong, talks about the pandemic, months before anything happens. What you're seeing now is that they were paying a big price. They were trying to get Milesguo back to CCP, was trying to get him back there, and they didn't care who they had to bribe. They didn't care who they had to get to see. They had meetings in China, mainland China. They thought this whole thing up. It's part of the Malaysian hedge fund scandal, which is billions of dollars all over the world, right? They're still trying to get to the bottom of that, but it shows you that scandal's got its roots in China, because the head of it was a Jolo, is in China. They won't turn him over, and he's the railhead of this problem. So this is going to be something that's going to. I think more information is going to come out every day. There's going to be a lot more names in this. We're going to take a short break. We're going to come back. We've got the new federal state. We're going to focus today on the Pacific. We're going to focus on Japan and Taiwan. What's happening there is these brave people stand up to the greatest enemy of the American people, the greatest enemy of the Chinese people, and that would be the Chinese Communist Party. We're going to return on War Room Pandemic in just a moment. We want to hear all of your input. Hashtag War Room Pandemic and live stream. Tell us what you think. Tell us what we should focus on. Tell us where we should go. Be back in a second.
The hottest new razor is taking the men's grooming world by storm. And if you don't have it, you need it. Micro Touch Solo, the hyper-advanced full-body razor that trims, shapes, edges, and even shaves with micro precision. And it's totally safe to the touch. Go solo for full body control with one tool. No nicks, bumps, or ingrown hairs. Edge beards and goatees with one touch. Clean your neck, barber shop perfect. And check this out. Snap on the guide to tame growth and perfectly shape your full beard. And keep new growth stubble trimmed exactly to your style. And look, the Solo Full Body Groomer trims precisely the length of hair you want. Snap off the guide and remove unwanted hair anywhere in seconds. What makes Solo different than your ordinary razor? Dual-sided German stainless steel blade. Shave up or down at 200 microstrokes per second. The Ultra Flex pivoting head contours perfectly to you for precise results. 3 custom grooming guides for control of exact length and shape. And a built-in LED light so you never miss a spot. Solo is so precise, you need no creams, no soaps, and no water. Ditch the old man clippers and toss the scissors. You've got to go solo. Call 1-800-709-9777 or go online at microtouchsolo.com and get yours now for only $19.99. Complete with German stainless steel blade, pivoting head, built-in spotlight, and 3 custom grooming guides. Everything you see here for just $19.99. The all-new MicroTouch Solo Full Body Groomer. The one tool that does it all.
Jim and Joanne are here to pick up the same prescription. They both know the system is not on their side. They both know drug costs are out of control. But one of them is taking back control with GoodRx.
Next.
So while he's paying that much, even with his insurance, she's paying this much just by using GoodRx. Use GoodRx to compare prices at pharmacies in your area and stop paying too much for your prescriptions. Download the free app today and take back control.
Time for new reading glasses? Go to Readers.com. With hundreds of styles to choose from, Readers.com has reading glasses hard to find in stores, like bifocal style readers, reading sunglasses, and computer readers. Choose from hundreds of fashionable styles and colors for under $20, all backed by our happiness guarantee. Go to Readers.com now and enter this exclusive TV coupon code at checkout to save up to 40%. That's Readers.com.
War Room Pandemic with Stephen K. Bannon.
The epidemic is a demon, and we cannot let this demon hide.
War Room Pandemic. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
Welcome back to the War Room. It's been a wild one today, and we can tell that because the chat room on the live stream and hashtag War Room Pandemic is on fire. 61 in a wake up into a not a car crash, but a dogfight. This is going to be the toughest, nastiest election, I think, in American history. We've had a couple of 3 tough, nasty ones, so just be prepared. Strap in every day on the War Room and 24/7 on our sites and on National Pulse. We're going to be reporting this, getting you activated and mobilized. Jack, you had a comment about one of our guests. We pride ourselves on being an international global show. We had the National Rally head of the European Parliament delegation, Jerome Revere, one of the top conservatives in the world, very articulate. He'll be national security defense minister of France one day. when National Rally, Old Front National wins. What did he do? He warned us
Well,
about
it was
this.
shocking when we talked about this a week ago because he, as a Frenchman, and we consider France to be fairly progressive, certainly on comparison to the United States, and certainly that's the way the left describes it. And he said the people in France are absolutely shocked by the idea of anybody being able to vote without showing a proper ID and
stunning.
identifying themselves. I mean,
he thought we were kidding at first.
Yeah, he thought it was a joke.
Yeah, he thought I was kidding. No, it's not, and that's going to
Now,
be.
I wanted to throw out one comment from one of our listeners because it just sort of divines everything down to the narrowest point. He said, asked rhetorically, he said, Democrats are really going to argue, do you feel safer in Trump's America as they watch hundreds of thousands, if not millions, fleeing Democrat cities for suburbs and rural areas that supported Trump in 2016? Now, that is a fact. Now, one thing I'd like to ask all those people fleeing, don't bring your politics with you.
Oh, they will. That's how the states. What are you talking about? That's how the states get all messed up. Okay, I tell you, somebody would feel comfortable in Trump's America, and that is the people of the new federal state of China. Remember, you've got a global revolution against. You got a global revolution against the Chinese Communist Party. It's being led by these brave people, the average citizens, expatriates of China that are now exposing themselves globally to stand up and have these rallies and actually go to the consultants. And as much as the Tiananmen Square folks are brave and courageous, that's kind of petered out. You know, you just even on the 30th anniversary of it, you didn't see a lot around the country. But this new federal state's co-founded by Milesguo. He's in the news this morning. Nikki Lum Davis has pled guilty to a FARA violation in this effort to get Milesguo back to the Chinese Communist Party, but thank God he's still here. He's one of the founders and inspiration of the whistleblower movement. He's one of the founders and the inspiration of the new federal state of China. So I want to start. Remember, these are all was it nom de jures? These are their names that they use in the combat against the Chinese Communist Party. I want to go first to Japan and peace. And we're going to put up footage. We've got great footage of these things. Is that you got the blue flags? You have these very polite people. They're out there, but they're really in the face in the consulates and these in the embassies. First piece, tell us about these rallies in Japan. I think you had them in 2 or 3 cities. What type of enthusiasm you're getting, and what are you guys fighting? When you say you're anti-CCP, what does that mean?
Oh, thank you to having me again. Yeah, for this protecting, we have 200 people in 3 cities this time. Yes, we are all normal citizens in Japan. We just know how is the CCP is a devil. We just want to take down the CCP right now. Yeah.
So let me ask you a piece. When you say that the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party, is the devil, or I think the other day we had you on and you said the Chinese Communist Party Satan, and we're the good guys and they're the bad guys. For our American audience, can you be specific? When you say the Chinese Communist Party is the devil, what do you mean by that? Talk to us about their evil nature.
Oh yes, inside the China, the CCP's education, the people they just use the educations like the tool to control the citizens. Everything in history of CCP was a lie. They just want to wash the people's brain, make people be foolish, be a weapon to the other countries, make people hate other race, look down the other culture. And the CCP always says a Chinese Communist Party is the mothers of Chinese. Please think about it. If the mother says my children is stupid, do not deserve to be treated well, how do you think? This is not Euro, right? They are devil. Yeah.
Let me ask you a piece. You've been in Japan, and that's where you had the rally. When you talk to Japanese citizens, or now you're addressing an American audience, what do you tell people in Japan or people in the United States, what is the threat that the Chinese Communist Party poses to them? We understand what it is to people in mainland China. We understand to the expatriate community that's left or defected, the threat they have to you. But what is the threat that people in Japan and people in the United States who are not Chinese, what is the threat of the Chinese Communist Party to them?
Right now, it's the big threat is biological weapons, because you cannot see the enemy anywhere. You just know this is a COVID-19, like COVID-19 is anywhere. It's no place safety right now.
I think the biggest set of protests that have ever been at a Chinese embassy or consulate by Chinese nationals or people that are Chinese expatriates. How is this catching on in Japan? Are more and more Chinese nationals coming to you and wanting to be a part of this? Where does New Federal State stand right now as far as momentum?
Yes, I think more people will send out to join us to the protecting, to the any actions against the CCP. It's more and more people to stand out. I believe that, because people will know the truth of the COVID-19, of the CCPs doing everything to the world. They are lying to the world. They are lying to all the peoples in the world. Thank you.
Yeah. Last question. What should Americans, people in our audience today, and you have you have so many people that listen to the specials and look forward to this stuff and look forward to the incredible footage that's up there. What can you tell the American audience about the New Federal State? What is it you stand for, and why did you join?
Yes, we believe the CCP will collapse very, very soon. If you really know the information of real mainlands of China now, you will note it. After that, the only powers of Chinese is the New Federal States. We are the only organizations to show the people to present what the real Chinese people are, and. Yes, we are love the peoples. We are love the democracies. We are tell the truth to the world. We are make the real friends with the world. We are try to save the peoples of the world from the devil CCP. This is all we do. Thank you.
Peace. I want to thank you coming on, and really want to thank you for the bravery of turning up at these rallies, guys. If we can I want to make sure we get the footage as beautiful as my visage is. I want to make sure we get the footage for the audience up there, and for the radio audience, you should know we're showing some incredible rallies. Peace. Thank you very much. Before I bring on next, I wanted to do this element of it just so I could announce the nom de jour of our next guest is Mr. Tomato. It's not a goof. That's what he goes by, and a quite brilliant guy. Before we talk about that, I just want to make sure the American audience knows and the radio audience knows, as you see this footage up there, the bravery that these people have to have. The Chinese, you just saw where in the Ukraine, the American embassies monitoring the social media of some of the most prominent names in conservative media and defenders of Trump. In the CCP, they're monitoring everything, right? They're getting your photograph. They're doing the visual recognition. They've got the firewall, and they immediately go back and try to get the first thing the Chinese Communist Party does is try to get your family, right? They try to intimidate you. So I can't tell you, and we see these all day long. They send these videos about what's how brave and how heroic these people are. I want to bring in Tomato. Sir, here's the question. Why did you join the New Federal State? Why take this risk? You're out of the country. You're in Japan now. You're essentially safe. You could just be quiet and get on about your life. But why do I see on a global basis now, and it's basically every weekend, protests in the Chinese Communist Party's faces at the consulates, at the embassies? You've got these signs, CCP lied, Japanese died. CCP lied, Americans died. It's an aggressive, in-your-face campaign. So what is it that's drawing people like you to this movement?
Hello, Mr. Bannon. It's a great honor to be here. And, the reason I must stand up to say no to the CCP is I think, I came to Japan just looking for happiness and wealth, and I think after I leave China, I'll be safety for my family. But I think I'm wrong because the COVID-19 is just nearby me. So why the COVID-19 is nearby me? Because the CCP is telling lie. They hide the truth. So I must. So I cannot escape to anywhere. I must stand up and say no to the CCP. Because the CCP is an evil to anywhere. They do the BGY to all over the world, even somebody beside me. So I must say no to the CCP. Even I'm in Japan because it's not the matter inside China. It is the matter of whole the world. So I must say no to the CCP. I'm standing. I think over. I was standing in front of the China embassy to say CCP lies, Japanese die. I just want to save my life. I just want to say to protect my family and my race, my Chinese race. Over. Thank you.
I tell you what, sir. Yeah, if you can hang over a second, we'll take a short commercial break. We want you to hang over, and we're going to bring you. We've also got Ford from Taiwan, members of this organization from both Japan and Taiwan that are standing up to the Chinese Communist Party in the face of really the ability of the CCP to take their families and to oppress them. We're going to take a short commercial break. When we return, I want to hear you in hashtag War and Pandemic or in the live stream. Stephen K. Bannon, we're going to be back with War and Pandemic in just a second.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and as you know, my passion is to help each and every one of you get the best sleep of your life. That's why I created my new Giza Dreams bed sheets. I guarantee you they'll be the most comfortable sheets you'll ever own.
With the Giza Dream Sheets, I'm getting the best sleep of my life.
They are so soft and smooth. I never slept so good.
I fall asleep faster because I'm actually comfortable.
I started by using the world's best cotton called Giza. It's only grown in a region between the Sahara Desert, the Mediterranean Sea, and the Nile River. It's ultra soft and breathable, but extremely durable, which is why I can give you my full 10-year warranty. But I didn't stop there. My Giza sheets also include full 21-inch wide pillowcases that will fit over any pillow and deep pocket sheets that will fit over any mattress. I guarantee you the first night you sleep on my sheets, you'll never want to sleep on anything else.
Go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen right now. MyPillow Giza Dream Sheets are available in a variety of colors and will be the softest, most comfortable sheets you will ever own. Use the promo code and get 2 for 1 low price, plus free shipping. Giza Dreams are made with the finest, most sought-after cotton in the world. Giza cotton was once reserved for only the finest dress shirts, but is now available in Mike's Giza Dream Sheets. They feature a beautiful silky sateen weave that helps keep you cool and comfortable all night long.
With the Giza Dream Sheets, I'm getting the best rest of my life.
I love my Giza Dream Sheets. Go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen right now to get your very own MyPillow Giza Dream Sheets. Use the promo code and Mike will give you a very special 2 for 1 low price and free shipping. That's right, get 2 for 1 low price and free shipping. Call or go online now.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit MyPillow.com.
Do
Do you have any idea how your mattress affects your body and how well you sleep? Is it too hard or too soft, causing you to wake up with sore shoulders, back, or hips? Are you uncomfortable because you're too hot or too cold? Now you can get the total body support you need and the better sleep you want with the new MyPillow mattress topper.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell. When I invented my new MyPillow mattress topper, I made it to have everything you'd ever want in a topper. My mattress topper helps give you the support you need, helps relieve your pressure points, and regulates your body temperature for you as an individual. It comes with a 10-year warranty. You can wash and dry the cover. It's made in the USA, and I back it with my 60-day money-back guarantee.
MyPillow topper delivers on its promise to give me a better night's sleep.
Call now to get your very own MyPillow mattress topper. Use the promo code and Mike will give you 30% off and 2 standard MyPillows absolutely free. Order now.
I personally guarantee it's going to change your bed into the most comfortable bed you'll ever own.
War Room Pandemic with Stephen K. Bannon.
The epidemic is a demon, and we cannot let this demon hide.
War Room Pandemic. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
You're in the War Room. It's the 1st of September. We got, 62 days to go until, don't know, but it's going to look like a tough night on the evening of November 3rd. Raheem, you've actually got some analytics coming out of the Hawkfish.
Yeah, you have 62 days to go before the start of the Civil War, by the way, is what's going to happen if this scenario plays out here. The Hawkfish analysis that we've talked about on this show so far, and if you missed it, make sure you go back. The lead story on the National Pulse, where we go through it and explain it right now, has just gone up. Natalie Winters does some great reporting about all of this. But effectively, the Democratic National Committee, they have this team on board, incredible data and analytics firm called Hawkfish. Hawkfish have said that President Trump, they gave an exclusive interview to Axios on HBO, that President Trump could win a, quote, incredible landslide on election night, but still not be president of the United States. I'll read you one of the scenarios that they've popped up as a result of all of this. So Trump could hold a projected lead of 408 to 130 electoral votes on election night if only 15% of the vote-by-mail ballots had been counted at that point. Once 75% of those mail-in ballots are counted, they say perhaps 4 days later, that could flip the Electoral College lead to Biden's favor. And that leads to a 334 to 204 Joe Biden victory after 4 days have passed after the election. Now, these numbers are based on the 538 website's polling numbers, so that's where they're drawing their data from. But they actually say it could be up to over a week for these sorts of numbers to come out. So very, very possible conclusion that could be had on November the 3rd evening is that President Trump supporters go to bed or don't go to bed thinking that they not only have won, but have won in a landslide. Yeah. And then a week later, they come back with, oh, by the way, you didn't. You're not the president.
Well,
Goodbye.
This is why Hillary Clinton say we're not going to concede. Okay, let's go now to people that are standing in the breach. I want to go back to Tomato. So, sir, just what is the warning that you give people in Japan and the United States about the Chinese Communist Party? You guys call them devils. You're protesting all the time. Understand you're a Chinese expatriate living in Japan. But for the United States, for our audience here, what is your warning to them about the CCP?
I just want to warning the peoples in the United States, don't believe the CCP's saying. Just try to find what they do. What are they doing? In the whistle-blow movement, we have a lot of things. We can see a lot of truth. So I want to tell to the people in the United States to learn more about the truth, than to know the real face of CCP, to cooperate with Mr. President to fight with the CCP to get your how can I say, the production line to back to the United States to get your great life, to get your life great again.
Thank you so much, really.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Get your life great again. I love that. Bring back the supply chains. Let's go to Taiwan now. In Ford. Ford, thank you very much for joining us here on War Room Pandemic. My question is that one of the things the people that support the Chinese Communist Party, Wall Street, and the corporations say is that the CCP lets it be known that the Chinese can't handle rule of law, they can't handle democracy, they can't handle freedom, and that's why you need a kind of an authoritarian or totalitarian dictatorship that runs the country. You're part of this movement now. You live in Taiwan, which is the home of the Free Chinese. What do you have to say to the CCP about the Chinese people, Lao Beijing, really being able to handle rule of law, being able to handle democracy, being able to handle freedom? Do we have Ford? Maybe we don't. Okay, we'll get to Ford tomorrow. I want to turn back here to somehow we had him and lost him, but that's okay. We do these international things. I want to get to Taiwan. We'll get to Taiwan tomorrow. Let's go back to our show's in meltdown right now because of people. This is the first time people really talked about the 62 days and everything that's going on. What are people? Are there Trump movement as focused on this as they should be?
Look, I don't know if it's as focused, but I know that it's getting focused. I know that some of the campaign people have been looking at this Axios story that broke this morning with horror and dread, talking about how the election could be flipped over the course of 4 days. I mean, somebody in the live chat said something interesting just now. Instead of hanging chads, we're going to be talking about missing stamps from these mail-in ballots and similar such things. When all these papers get brought forth 4 or 5 days later, say, oh yeah, no, it did make it in on time. It made it in by election day, like the Georgia judge decided yesterday as well, saying as long as they get there in time for November the 3rd themselves, they'll still be counted. But it can take 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days to count these things, and some will be coming out of the woodwork as well in that time. But here's the thing. This is what everybody has to realize right now, is that it is your job as viewers and listeners of this show, if you are as deeply concerned about this as everybody in this room is, and as you should be, then we've got to get more people talking about it. You've got to send it to all of the other shows, everyone you watch, every political commentator, pollster, your Republican representatives. Get everybody talking about this, because this is the trick. This is the steal right here. And they've shoved it in your face right now because they think you're too stupid to realize what's going on.
And to give you an example of what kind of time this is going to take, one of our listeners and I have been corresponding. He sent me a letter last Saturday. It has still not arrived. So that's 8 days, 9 days? This is what's going to happen with these ballots. And so if it's stamped on November 3rd, we might not even see the ballot till November 10th or 15th.
It's going to be crazy. Hopefully, remember, write this one down. 10 o'clock on November 3rd, the status of the state of Florida. Going to be very, very, very important. If Donald Trump is closing in on a victory, at least on election day, with Florida, I don't see how this thing gets worked out with Donald Trump not being president of the United States. But we'll go on that. We're going to get into this every day. We'll be the center of this every day until we get to November 3rd.
I'm going to do a whole teardown at 3 p.m. as well.
Okay, National Pulse at 3 p.m. on America's Voice. I want to thank all our distribution partners. I want to thank particularly people in the new federal state. We're going to have every day a person in the new federal state and the whistleblower moving on here, because you show that this is a global movement, and these people are fighting for the rule of law, just like we're fighting for the rule of law here. See you tomorrow.